Alrighty, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, as we are in the second week of the NASCAR Cup Championship here at All American Racing League, presented right here on twitch.tv/FadedGG. We appreciate all the early people that have stopped in here. I'm sure we'll start having people pile in here in a matter of minutes, but we got about 4 minutes of practice left before we start qualifying here at Kentucky Speedway. To kill some time out here, we're going to talk a little bit about the track, which is a 1.5-mile tri-oval speedway located in Sparta, Kentucky. Since its debut in 2000, been a long time, 21 years it's celebrating. It has hosted the ARCA, the NASCAR, and the Indy Racing Leagues annually. It's currently owned and operated by Speedway Motorsports, but was originally owned by a guy named Jerry Carroll, who broke ground on the track in 1998 along with 4 other investors. It's got a grandstand of 69,000, depending on its layout, can actually reach up to 107,000 capacity. So it's been around a little while. It is one of the newer tracks, but I wouldn't call it a track that's 21 years old, a little bit newer. But at least when I was growing up, I remember I was too young to really know what was going on in NASCAR, but old enough to remember when this was bringing a lot of hype around the NASCAR series. And since then, they've been just doing their thing with hosting other series as well. So pretty popular track, fun track. I believe the banking in turn 1 and 2 is at 17 degrees, with the banking in turn 3 and 4 at 14 degrees. And the tri-oval, couldn't quite remember what it is, but there's some different bankings along this track, so not every turn is going to feel the same for these guys. But it is a pretty fast track. It does tighten up into the turns on the straightaway. I think I saw earlier about, I don't want to guess, but it's definitely wider in the straightaways than it is in the turns, so it should be a pretty interesting race nonetheless. And the banking not too crazy, obviously, but enough to carry some speed through the corners there. So we take a look at some of the drivers that are out there on the track. Talk about this guy right here, David Hara, who last week was racing the all-black Silo Chevy. He's now running the livery, as you see now. He's changed sponsors. He is running a livery for Blue Gray Custom Plastic Fabrication. Their website is bluegrayplasticfab.com. So good for him at David, as we like to highlight any kind of sponsor change for our drivers and obviously for the sponsors themselves. So want to give a shout out to David and also his new sponsor, the Blue Gray Custom Plastic Fabrication. Again, bluegrayplasticfab.com. Also, a big shout out to Tyrone, who last week I was calling him Tyrone Yohi. He got into my DMs and told me that the H is silent and his name is pronounced Yo. But he gave me a pass, as he said he gets that all the time. So Tyrone Yo, I have no excuse to mess your name up. So thank you for clearing that up. As for all the drivers out here, if I do mess something up, whether it's sponsor related, name related, anything, go ahead and jump in my DMs on Discord anytime. Don't hesitate. I won't take offense to it. We're all trying to learn each other out right now and learn the names and learn some driving styles. As we do have Luis back. He won our race last week and pretty much dominated from start to finish. As you can see on screen, the practice session is now closing. We're going to be getting into qualifying before green flag racing here at Kentucky Speedway. But yes, Luis dominated last week from start to finish. However, I've been told that in practice sessions that they ran last night, pretty much everybody is within 0.2 seconds of each other out of these 10 to 12 cars that are going to be out on the track. So shouldn't be as dominant as we've seen last week. Now, Luis is a road racer. He's also from across the pond, so he can only catch a few races here and there. He can't do a full season. However, when he shows up, he definitely shows up to race. So we'll see if anybody can give him a run for the money tonight. As you see our leaderboard at the top of your screen, we did kind of clean some things up. Last week, we ran their name first with a dash that said PO that stood for playoffs. However, that's been cleaned up now to where when we get back onto the track after qualifying, you're going to see a P, then a dash, then their name. So that way you know who playoff drivers are, and just a little bit cleaner there. So we're going to do 5 minutes of qualifying as we've already burned a minute. Pretty standard 2-lap quali. As more people have piled in, I just want to say thanks for joining us tonight for All-American Racing League. This is week number 2 of the championship. Sorry about that, guys. Mike tried unplugging itself, so I did disappear there for a little bit, but I'm still here. I apologize for the pause. So we've been through the track. We've been through some of the sponsor changes tonight. Like I said, should be a very, very competitive race. As you can see, the numbers coming in. There's the 73 of Lewis Clark. Taking the pole as of right now at a 29.82, but as we said, everybody in the top 5, top 6, even the top 7 there, I mean, they're all running with about 0.3 behind, with David Lerfano, who is a playoff driver. You see the P in parentheses next to his name. Only 0.13 seconds behind him. Patrick Mcquaid, who I believe finished top 3 last week. Maybe it was top 5. I know we called his name quite a bit. And then you start looking to the left of that leaderboard, 4th through 10th. You start seeing all of our playoff drivers back there. So you have David Lerfano right now, as far as the playoff drivers, taking the edge in qualifying, as it looks like he's going to hold on to that P2. And then all the rest of the playoff drivers are separated, with Patrick Mcquaid being in 3rd. So a lot of racing back from 4 to 10th. All playoff drivers. All hoping for a clean start, probably stay green for a little while, as we do see in the NASCAR Cup Series. We do also stream tour mods every Thursday. I did miss last week, but that is normally streamed every Thursday at the same time, 7 p.m. Central. And that's always a good show, too. Those, small cars, but very powerful on small tracks. There's a lot of action, usually a couple of yellows to break the action. And then on Sunday nights here at All-American Racing League, they do run the Legends Series. So you have Legends on Sundays, the NASCAR Cup Series here on Tuesdays. And next season, we're going to be switching from the Tour mods over to the late models. So if anybody's interested in running those or the Legends, feel free to reach out to us on Facebook. Just go ahead to your little search and put in All-American Racing League. Good group of guys here. As we look at the point standings, we got Josh Hetrick leading the group with 1,050 points. Behind him is Chad Snyder with 1,046. David Lerfano, who is our second place qualifier, behind them with 1,042. Travis Rodriguez in 4th place overall with 1,040 points. And David Hara rounding out the top 5 with 1,038. But it should be noted that the 10th driver in points is sitting at 1,000. So from 1,000 or from 10th to 1st, there's only a 50-point difference. So it's anybody's race right now. Leading laps, obviously finishing good and winning races is going to get you to the top, but it's a very tight race right now, especially behind David Hara sitting in that 5th. You got Tyrone Yo in 1,036 and Frederick Houle in 1,034 points respectively. So very tight race here between these drivers. As it looks like that's going to end our qualifying for this evening. So it looks like we're going to have driver comms tonight. So I believe I did hear some drivers come through. That was not through the broadcast booth here in Discord. That was comms through iRacing here. So .68 degrees here in Sparta, Kentucky, here at Kentucky Speedway. So we see the drivers lining up right there, getting their pictures taken. Very tight-knit community here. Everybody's involved with each other. On board with our pole sitter, Luis Clark from across the pond as he takes his 2nd pole in a row. As I said at the top of the broadcast, dominated last week from start to finish, as the only laps he didn't lead was a scheduled pit stop for fuel and tires. Other than that, he led every lap. David Lurfano in the number 8 G Fuel on the outside, going to be starting 2nd. Jonathan May in the 00 all black livery, going to be on that inside in that 3rd position. On the outside, starting in 4th, is the number 77 of Patrick Mcquaid, followed by Jonathan Higgins on the inside. And that 19 Valvoline throwback tribute livery in the 79 is going to be Mr. Rodriguez. And the 59 of Fred Houle going to be on the inside in 7th place. We got David Hara in the 15, starting on the outside in 8th. Green flag, here we go. We're going to be starting. See what kind of jump Lewis Clark can get, and if David Lurfano can hold on in the beginning. Lewis Clark jumps out to that lead. Looks like we got a car off track already. That probably will bring us to our first caution. We're going to stay under green here. We'll see if Ahmad comes in and gets us to yellow, but such a early crash. I think that was Chad Snyder, and that number 5 car just went diving down. So we're on board here. He got into it with the number 59 car. Let's take another look at this as the number 55 tries to dive on in the inside, close to that yellow, as he actually goes under the yellow and contacts the 59, and they're just getting all beat up towards there. I'm not too sure. That was a pretty aggressive move, considering we hadn't even finished a lap yet. But it looks like we're going to stay green flag racing here as we complete lap number 2 here at Kentucky Speedway. We are doing 100 laps. So we get back up front and check in on our leaders. Got a comfortable early lead against David Lurfano. Patrick Mcquaid in the 77 is going to stay firm out of that 3rd place. Jonathan May sitting in 4th place, about a second behind the leader. Yeah, it looks like Chad Snyder, he's gonna have to pit, try to get some of that damage fixed. That's just unfortunate for those 2 drivers right there as early as we were. We'll see just how bad the 59 car took as far as damage goes. Obviously, he is going to be all back here by him lonesome. He's about 20 seconds off pace after that crash. We'll see if any damage proves to be fatal and if he has to pit. I'm sure he'll stick it out a couple of more laps, get a feel for the car, see where he's at. We're going to jump back up front as we got Luis Clark leading by 0.7 into the try they go. Followed by David Lurfano in the G Fuel 8 and Patrick Mcquaid in the 77 sitting third. As we take a look at the number 5 car, he's obviously got some extensive damage. That's Chad Snyder. He's not only a playoff driver, but he's in that top 3 contention. So that's not how he wanted to start his night. So we jump onto the second place car here as Luis Clark has already extended his lead to over 2 seconds here at Kentucky Speedway. David Lurfano is going to be passed as Patrick Mcquaid looks to go on the inside underneath the yellow line. He does complete the pass. So he's going to be taking over second place. Comfortably, I may add. So David's going to drop back to third place. Jonathan May still in that fourth place. He's in the all-black 00. Looks like he's got plenty of room for sponsors. If anybody's in the chat and checking him out, there's plenty of real estate there to be had to slap your name on his car. He is a playoff contender. Jay Higgins sitting in fifth place. So we start taking a look at the middle of the pack. You got to love the Valvoline livery here. Good choice. And David Hara. No relation to Harris Casino, although I'm sure we all wished there was. We'd all be sitting pretty good right now. Coming up on 10 laps complete here out of 100 at Kentucky Speedway. As we stick on board of the number 15 blue-gray custom plastic fabrication driven by David Hara. He had a pretty strong run last week, was pretty consistent. I think he had a little bit of trouble towards the end of the race, but he's always up here fighting in the top 5, top 6 drivers. Always running a clean race. So he's got the number 79 of Rodriguez right behind him. All these drivers, fourth and beyond, are playoff contenders. As you do see, though, the top 2 drivers of Luis Clark and Patrick Mcquaid are not playoff contenders, but that shows you how competitive this league is getting. You got drivers that are just racing for pride and bragging rights, and they are running 1 and 2 right now. Lewis' lead has shrunk just a little bit. Last time we were on board with him, he was well over a 2-point-second lead between himself and Patrick Mcquaid. That has shortened now to about a 1.45 as Patrick Mcquaid keeps digging and chopping off tenths of a second at a time. He's going to be trying to give Luis Clark a run for his money. David Lurfano in third, about a second back from Patrick Mcquaid. So these guys are up comfortable, up front, which is what you want under green flag racing. You don't want to be racing too hard at the beginning of these races like we saw at the very beginning. You want to keep your car nice and clean, avoid having to do any unnecessary pit stops. As we leave the blimp in the sky and get a little bit closer to some on-track action, it looks like Luis Clark coming up on some lapped traffic. That's going to be the 59 car of Fred Houle, who was involved in that first lap wreck. Chose not to pit. He's already running about 4 laps down. Or 1 lap down, excuse me. Chad Snyder in the 5, the culprit, is 4 laps down. So Fred Houle doing what's right, giving Luis Clark plenty of room up there to pass as he went up high, allowed Luis the inside line there, no competition from there. Heads up driving, now he can kind of just fall into the draft if he can keep up with Luis Clark and get that lucky dog if we do indeed see a caution. As it looks like we got a car on the infield with black smoke. I think that's the 25 car. No, it's not. It's the 02 car of Mr. Yo, Tyrone Yo. So he's going to pit. Not too sure what happened there. You hate seeing black smoke out there. Maybe running her a little too hard. He definitely blew something up in that 02 gear wrench with the Monster logo on the side. So he's going to take her down to the pits. We'll see how costly that is. Definitely early in the race as we complete 17 of 100 laps here at Kentucky Speedway. We're smoked out in the pits here. We'll let that pit crew go to work on him and see if he can make it out onto the track and at least complete some laps all the way to the end of this race. You hate to put your car on the trailer early, so I'm sure he'll get his car fixed and be out there on the track as soon as possible. So we hop on board with the number 4 car. So he's trying to chase down the 3rd place David Lurfano. David Lurfano, by the way, our first playoff driver as far as the grid goes. Obviously, Luis Clark and Patrick Mcquaid ahead of him as we look like we're going to be running on the inside here. So we're battling for 3rd. He's going to hold that inside line, but the number 8 of David Lurfano battling it out tight. We'll see how they come across when we get into the straightaway. Looks like Higgins is going to be taking that 3rd place from David Lurfano. There it is. Nice clean pass by Higgins there. I'm sure that David Lurfano, he's thinking about saving fuel, saving tires. Probably didn't want to fight this early into the race, so he took it up high and allowed Higgins a clean pass. Plenty of racing left as we come up on 20 laps here at Kentucky Speedway. Patrick Mcquaid quietly running in 2nd place here. He's been able to hunt down Luis Clark little by little. As you can see, the relative up top, he's got that 2-second lead all the way down to about 1.15 as he's doing the best he can to repeat last week and battle it out with Luis for that 1st place. As we take it back up high in our chopper view, start spreading the love here as we start looking at the middle of the pack and the back of the pack. So we got a couple of drivers, 3 to be exact, that are lap down. Fred Houle, he's in position for this lucky dog if there is a caution that comes out. Tyrone Yo, 2 laps down, and Chad Snyder has maintained the 4 laps down. So '79 car of Rodriguez, playoff driver, rocking the Razor livery. No cautions yet as we're almost about a quarter of the way here at Kentucky Speedway. So shout out to the drivers for keeping it clean up until this point. We'll see once these tires start losing a little bit of grip. We'll see how it turns out to be as we start getting more towards the middle of the race and start getting some of these scheduled pit stops. Here is our series leader, number 25, Joshua Hetrick, about 11 seconds behind, sitting in that 8th place. He's definitely fighting for position here. As we did talk at the top of the broadcast, not too many points are separating these guys, which should be the case as we are all, the points did reset going into last week, which it being the first race of the championship. So a lot of tight racing here as far as points go. So he's obviously going to want to work his way up into the ladder of the race to get up front and try to secure a top 5, top 3 even. So he's going to have to think about his pit strategy as he does find himself outside of that top 5. Coming back up on here to Higgins in that 19 Valvoline car, sitting in 3rd place, but first out of any of the playoff contention drivers as we speak. As we're coming up on 28 laps of 100 being completed here at Kentucky Speedway. This is the 2nd week of the All-American Racing League NASCAR Cup Championship. Ran a couple of laps myself here earlier in the day, as you can see from this beautiful chopper camera. It's a pretty wide track. Not a heck of a whole lot of banking, as I said. Turn 1 and 2, I believe, are about 17 degrees of banking, with turn 3 and 4 sitting at 14 degrees of banking. But definitely enough to carry some speed, as you do have to do a little bit of lift onto the gas into these turns. Not a heck of a whole lot of braking, I don't think, but with tire wear coming up, I didn't run too many laps, but you're definitely lifting going into these turns and then carrying as much speed as you can into these straightaways. Turning our focus onto our leader, Lewis Clark, who has seen his lead drop all the way from 2.2 seconds all the way down to 1.08, as Patrick Mcquaid is just digging in that 77 car trying to catch Lewis Clark. So we give a little bit of a look and a little bit of a shout out to Lewis Clark's livery. Looks like he's running Orlamex. Hope I'm saying that right. Your plywood experts worldwide. So a little shout out and thank you for Lewis Clark running them. As he's looking to get his 2nd consecutive win. Not a playoff driver, as we said. He's a road racer. He lives across the pond, so he can't make every race, as it is very late for him right now, going into the wee hours of the morning. But he's decided to jump on board and help us kick off this championship run. Always impressive to see him out on the track. As we leave it on the gyro cam, you can listen to these cars scream and get a better sample of just how they have to work this gas and feather it around these turns. I'm going to be quiet and let you guys listen for a couple of laps here. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, that didn't go as planned, as we do see our first official caution of the night. Let's take a look here. Looks like the 00 of Jonathan May getting tangled up in something. Let's see if we can catch the start of this as he just hits the wall on the backstretch. This is a one-car accident. Very, very unfortunate. It's the 00 in the Ford Mustang. He's going to have to come down to pit lane, definitely get some extensive repairs. As we see the number 19 prior to this happening, almost doing the same thing here. So you got to take into consideration these tires after 35 laps might be getting a little stressed out here. I don't know if that was, a tire situation or a focus situation there, but either way, an unfortunate event for the 00. He is a playoff driver. As we get back live with the action, 35 of 100 laps. And you hate to see it, Luis, if you're Luis Clark, who saw his lead dwindling down lap by lap. Looks like I think Fred Hoole's going to get the lucky dog here. That's what it's showing on my relative. So he'll get back on the lead lap here. I don't know. We got 66 laps to go. I don't know if we'll see some cars starting to come into the pits or not. Looks like the 02 car is going to be coming into the pits. He got into it a little bit earlier, though. He was running that black smoke. He had to come in and get some work done. So it looks like Tyrone Yo is going to take advantage of the yellow, come on back in, and probably get some fresh tires and some fuel added to that. But we'll see if some of these leaders are going to be turning it in for pit stops or not, or if they're going to stay out there and go green for, I would say, maybe 10, 15 more laps until scheduled pit stops anyway. So we'll see what the call is here. You definitely don't want to pit too early and then have to pit late in the race, and this is when strategy starts coming in here. Get a better view of the field here. Our first caution took 35 laps with some good, clean racing up until that point. Again, if you're just tuning in, it was a one-car accident of the 00 of Jonathan May. Just got a little too high coming out of one of the turns, hits the wall, and the way he went and spun out, looks like he took a lot of rear end damage there. We'll see if he decides to stay out onto the track. as we get the leaders back up in formation. Luis Clark, Higgins in that 19 car, David Lafano sitting third in the G Fuel 8, and Hetrick, our championship leader, has made his way from 8th all the way to 4th. I'm sure he couldn't be happier to get this caution as he had to work his way up from the back of the field. Now he's sitting in that 4th place position. All the cars are gridding, lining back up. So a really good break for our points leader in that black 25 car with the yellow numbers. So we'll see if he can make a run. The 79 of Rodriguez sitting in 5th, and David Hara in that 15. You're going to be starting on the outside in 6th, followed by Patrick Mcquaid, who at one point looks like pace car's off. We're going to get green flag racing here. Let's see if Higgins can keep up with Luis on the jump, as Luis gets a huge jump in the 19 of Higgins. Might have slipped the tires there, as he is definitely delayed on that start. David Lafano going to take over 2nd place on the green flag. So an unfortunate start. And even more unfortunate for Hetrick, as he worked so hard. He got caught up in there. He was ready to go. Unfortunately, the car in front of him was not. He got into the back of him, it looks like. Hopefully his splitter is fine. He doesn't have any too much front end damage, as he's worked his butt off this race to get up towards the front. You hate to see something like that affect his race long term, as the 79 of Rodriguez is going to secure that 3rd place position, followed by Jonathan Higgins in the 19, Patrick Mcquaid, and as we said, Joshua Hetrick sitting in that 7th place. Luis Clark with a big jump, as we said, but David Lafano keeping it in with the 2nd. You can just see him in the corner of your screen up there in the all-gray G Fuel number 8. Trying to keep it close. Huge jump from Luis Clark. Remind me of Caden Tufts in the tour mods that we run here every Thursday night at 7 p.m. Central Time. David Lafano has jumped out with a 2.5 gap between him and the 3rd place, as he tries his hardest to keep up with the pace of Luis Clark, who's sitting over a 2nd ahead of David Lafano. David Harris, 6th. Joshua Hetrick, our points leader, all the way back to 7th place. Again, I hope he didn't get too much front end damage. I do believe they made contact on that restart. As we start looking at some of the crashes here, most of it's been single cars. 59 caught up in a couple of them tonight. That's a tough night for him. Fred Houle finds himself a lap down, but he's grinding it out. Tyrone Yo in front of him, lap down. He's in position for the next lucky dog if we do have another caution, which I'm sure once we get deeper into this race, you'll start seeing some guys jockeying for positions, running a little bit harder. Might start seeing some closer racing here at Kentucky Speedway, but for now, everybody's kind of comfortable. As you look at the relatives up there, nobody's really neck and neck, door to door right now, but that's most likely going to change as we get deeper into this race here at All-American Racing League NASCAR Cup Championship. If you're just tuning us right now, if you see a P in parentheses next to the driver's name, that means they are a playoff contender, as most of the guys in this field are, minus Luis Clark and Patrick Mcquaid. as we give you a chance to see these cars on track with just how much speed they're carrying around these turns. Definitely a fast track here at Kentucky Speedway. As that was a nice listen in to these engines roaring as we are starting to see a little bit closer pack racing going on. I think, like I said, everybody's trying to button it up here as we are about halfway through the race here. We've had one caution, nobody pit, so we should start seeing some scheduled pit stops here. But it all depends on strategy here, as some people might be thinking the deeper we go, are we going to get another caution? Should I pit while under green, or do I risk it and see if there's going to be another caution and pit under there? You hate to pit under green, and while you're in the pits, here comes a caution. So we'll see how strategy plays out. As the second, all the way to that 7th place. Pretty tight here. Lap number 50 complete here at Kentucky Speedway. 49 laps to go. No change as far as leader goes, as Luis Clark has led all 50 laps. We have had some changes back in that second and third place. As you can see in the livery, David Lurfano's currently on board with holding down the second place, but he's got Jonathan Higgins in that 19 Valvoline right on his bummer. As you can see, only about 0.2 seconds separates these cars. That's the battle for second place is Patrick Mcquaid in that 77, as you can see in the view. Trying to push up with Higgins. Higgins coming on the inside apron, looking for a look. David Lafano might give him one here. As here comes the 19 of Jonathan Higgins, trying to work that inside line, trying to get a pass on David Lafano. Let's see if he can hold on to it as they go into the turn. Lurfano ain't going away cheap, though, as he's riding that high line, trying to secure that second place position from Jonathan Higgins. Patrick Mcquaid trying to take advantage of these two battling it out. He's going to get behind Jonathan Higgins and give him the push, so he's going to choose to stick with the inside line and see if he can take advantage of this and possibly hop into third place. Let's see if he can secure third place from David Lafano. And David might even be thinking about maybe just holding on to a little bit more fuel and tires as he does let Jonathan Higgins go. Let's see if he does the same and gives up that third place and drops back to fourth, as we still do have 47 laps to go here. Anything could happen. A caution. We got some pit stops coming up, I'm sure. So he's got to think to himself, how hard does he want to push right now with as much race left as we have? But some really exciting racing there for a second. Coming out of that 19 Valvoline. Patrick Mcquaid does secure the pass onto David Lafano, but again, I think that was just more of a strategy of I'm not trying to race these guys that hard right now, as everybody's on tires that they started with. You got to think of tire wear. How hard do you want to push the car right now? And David Lafano says, not that much. So he'll sit comfortably back in fourth place. with the 79 of Rodriguez sitting in 5th. David Hara in that 6th place position. Come back up to the front on our leader. That's Luis Clark. He has managed to take his lead past 4 seconds with that battle that we just had for second place. Those guys are battling out, losing a little bit of time, and Luis Clark taking full advantage of that up here in first place here at Kentucky Speedway. Last week's winner out to another dominating performance in this second week of the championship. As things start settling down, we'll take a look towards the back with Rodriguez, Hara, and Jonathan May. Jonathan May did get into that single car accident where he hit the wall. Just tapped it a little bit, but it doesn't take much for these rear ends to start getting loose, and that's what happened to him. He's running about 11 seconds off pace, but he is still on the lead lap, so good for him holding it together. David Hara, that 15, sitting in 6th place position. Whoa. Don't want to start clipping through the track there, but we do want to spotlight some of the liveries on these cars. Some of these cars are sponsored, as you see here. David Harris rocking his sponsor tonight. Last week was in the all-black silo, support your local outlaw. But this week he's changed it up, and he's pretty proud of that, so good for him. There's a better look of his Chevrolet Camaro ZL1, sponsored by Blue Gray Custom Plastic Fabrication. BlueGrayCustomFab.com. Look them up. Big shout out to those guys. As you can start seeing from this perspective, a lot of room in the back here as these drivers start to fall back a little bit, or some are advancing a little bit. But either way, plenty of track for David back here as he sits in that 6th place position, 4 seconds behind the 79 of Rodriguez in the Ford Mustang, rocking the Razor livery with the We Race as One on his bumper back there. Wish I had more information on what that cause is for him. You see a better look at that Razor livery there. Looks like he's got some anime on the side as well. That's going to cost him about 4 seconds at the end of this race. But it looks like he's making a run onto that 4th place, David Lafano. See if he can get a pass on him. Lafano was running second, gave that position up to Higgins, and Patrick Mcquaid took advantage of that battle and snuck his way into the 3rd place. Ever since, though, David Lafano has lost pace here, as it looks like now we have a battle for 4th between him and Rodriguez in that 79. We'll stay with this action a little bit, as it looks like David Lafano got a little loose going out of that turn into the tri-bend, but he's going to go up high and close that book on 79. Excuse me. Battling it out, David back onto the inside, now back to the outside. That's going to open up the door for the 79 of Rodriguez. Looks like he's going to take that 4th place from David Lafano when it's all said and done. But David still battling it out on the high end, not giving it up cheap. Coming across the line, 36 laps to go. David Lafano does hold on and secure that 4th place position. Good little battle brewing between these guys, though, as we head back up to the 3rd place position of the 77. That's Patrick Mcquaid. And the Muffler Man, 77. Rocking the Chevy Camaro ZL1 as well. So big shout out to Muffler Man, getting represented quite well the last 2 weeks by Patrick Mcquaid, who ran second last week, only behind Luis Clark. He's looking for an encore here at the Kentucky Speedway as he's a second off the second place. That's the 19 of Higgins. He's looking to get back in that second place and do a 2 for 2 here. Speaking of Higgins, we'll hop on to this Eagle 1 Ford Mustang of Jonathan Higgins. Rocking the throwback Valvoline. Well, I don't know if it's a throwback, but I just remember growing up real young, that Valvoline livery, man. It was something nice. It helps when it had the number 6 car in it for all those years, too, so... Looks like we're coming up on some lap traffic here. This is Higgins in the second place car. As Luis Clark is about 4.5 seconds ahead. He's probably going to be running into some heavy lap traffic here. We'll see if it slows him down. But for now, we'll stay on board with Higgins as he tries to get through some of these lapped cars. Looks like Chad Snyder in the number 5 is back to the pits. He was involved in a lap 1 incident. The car in front of his had a very slow start. He tried getting down to the apron to make a pass. And it just didn't quite work out for him as the 59 car, I don't think Fred Hool's seen him. He had came down on him a little bit. So there's a little aggressive in the beginning. That's what costed Chad Snyder, which was a big loss for him tonight. As it looks like he's coming in, he's going to be getting some fresh tires. So I don't know if we're going to start seeing some scheduled pit stops or not. If so, this is going to be our first one of the night, and that's going to be Chad Snyder coming back quite a few laps down. And that's tough to see because, as we said at the top of the broadcast, he was right there in that top 3 in points for the championship. So tough night for him. He stuck it out with us, though. He's still putting on a show for us out there on the track, so good for him for not giving up. Out there racing for pride. So we hop back on board with our leader in the Toyota Camry, because why not, in the number 19. The Orlamex livery, plywood experts worldwide. Is his sponsor this evening. Good mix of Chevys and Fords. Not too many Toyotas, but Luis Clark, when he shows up, he's showing up hard as he's going to be fighting through some more lap traffic as we talked about. That's the number 2 car of Tyrone Yo. 2 laps down, make it 3. As we got the 59 of Fred Hool making a pit stop. We'll see if there's anything there, or might be, like we said, just time for start making some scheduled pit stops. Probably coming in for some tires, some fuel to top off, as we got 26 laps to go next time around. As you can see, is Dunder Mifflin pit crew to the left there working real hard. Looks like I saw a Buzz Lightyear pit crew over there. All right, iRacing, I see you. He's going to make his way back out onto the track. A couple of laps down he is, but he's still out there racing. Luis Clark stretching his lead out to almost 5 seconds to our second place driver, the 19 of Higgins, who finds himself with a 2-second gap between himself and Patrick Mcquaid in the 77. Yep, here comes David Hara in the pit. He was sitting 8th. He's going to get in there a little bit earlier. David Lurfano's in the pits as well. So as we start seeing some scheduled pit stops here, David's going to go a lap down here, but obviously he'll get that back as Luis Clark's going to have to start thinking about when he wants to go in for a new set of tires and some fuels. That's going to put David Hara 2 laps down. David Lurfano, again, as we said, he was sitting in the 7th. He's going to be pitting. Looks like Luis Clark slowing down. Yep, he's going to be going into the pit road here, so some of these other drivers, like David, can at least get a lap back. We'll see what it ends up being. So he had to slam on his brakes there, get a little squirry. This is our leader, Luis Clark, in the pits. Higgins is going to stay out, it appears. Yep, he's going to stay out. He's going to lead a lap for us here at the Kentucky Speedway. Patrick Mcquaid also opting to stay out. And everybody else looks like they are going to hit their pit rotations as we see Patrick Mcquaid coming in, Higgins coming in. So everybody's coming in for their scheduled pit stops. Higgins stayed out. He did lead a lap. That's huge for him. He is a playoff contender, so he'll get some bonus points, I believe, in this round of 10. So smart play by him. Once we start getting through all this motion, I'm sure we'll see Luis Clark take his first place back, but anything can happen as we start going through these pit stops. They usually have a good way of working themselves out, but we'll see. Let's hop on with our points leader overall, the 25 car of Hetrick. Looks like he's going to make his pit stop now, so he stayed out there. And it's going to open the door for Luis Clark here. Take his first place back. We'll see the race for second and third out of once we start getting back into rhythm here. So, Luis Clark, round in turn 4, going to be passing up pit row here, taking his lead back. It looks like he's going to be followed by Jonathan Higgins in the 19. David Lurfano in the 8. Patrick Mcquaid in the 77. And I hope I'm not getting a Joshua and a Jonathan mixed up. I apologize. There's a lot of J's, okay? There's Jay Hetrick. There's Jay Higgins. There's Jay May, which I think that's for sure a Jonathan, but I'm pretty sure I'm screwing up some of your guys' names. Jonathan, Joshua, I apologize. I'll just stick with last names from here on out. Somebody's going to go back and watch the VOD and say, gosh dang it, the dude kept calling me Jonathan. My name's Joshua, or vice versa, so I do apologize for that. But it's tough, when you only see the first initial there, so we'll go card numbers and last names. How's that sound? Luis Clark stretching his lead out to almost 10 seconds on the second place car. Oh, looks like we do got a caution here, boys, with 20 laps to go. Let's take a look. That's the 79 car. Of Rodriguez. Let's take it back a little bit further here. Let's see if David Harris gets mixed up with that, and he sure does. David coming in on the inside. Oh my God, and they ran it out all the way halfway through the turn. It looks like David's going to be coming out clean. Maybe some front end damage on his fender there, but obviously the 79 of Rodriguez. Seeing the worst of that. Oh boy. Let's see it from David's perspective as we get into the chase cam here. It looks like the 79. Oh, I don't know if David thought 79 was going high. He gets into the back of him a little bit more, gives him that final shove. I don't think that was intentional. I think David thought the 79 of Rodriguez was going to go up high. And when he finally committed to go on the inside, it was just a little too late. I don't know, though. David kind of came in there a little quick. Hard to tell what happened between those two drivers, but regardless, 79 of Rodriguez taking the unfortunate end of that one. As we start back with 17, probably 15 to go when the green flag drops. Tough break for Luis Clark, who did have a 10-second lead. Now we're going to be bunched back up. But good for just about every single other driver. So we'll see who gets the lucky dog here. Shout out to simracingapps.com. They're free software. As you can see on the top, that's who's doing our livery and our standings for us. Pretty easy, simple. So big shout out to them for making stuff like that possible. One of the best in the biz. Fastest lap of the night so far has been a 29.895, brought to you by Luis Clark. As it looks like he's coming down to pit row here. Not too sure what that's all about. He just pitted right before this caution, so I'm not too sure if he's got something going on internally with his vehicle or at home with his setup. I don't know what's going on with that, but our race leader, Luis Clark, who's dominated the race, has decided to pit under yellow. Take a look at what's going on here. Looks like he's just looks like that was a quick pit stop. Maybe he only chose to do 2 tires under his scheduled pit stop and figured, hey, plenty of cars that are laps down. I can go back in under caution, grab 2 free tires, and still be towards the middle of the pack. So we'll see how much that's going to cost him. As it says in our standings up there, he's sitting 3rd, but I don't think that's going to be the case. Our standings is calling the 19 as the new race leader. That's Mr. Higgins. Again, so many J's in here. I'm gonna stop trying to figure Jonathan and Joshua and all that. So we're just gonna start calling them Jay and their last name here. So Jay Higgins in the 19, gonna be our leader. Jay May in the 00 car sitting 2nd. I mean, what a turnaround for him, as he was part of that single car accident probably about 20 laps ago, brought out the first caution, and he was down, I think, quite a bit, and he's fought his way and clawed his way back into 2nd. That's the 00 of Mr. Jay May, so really, really good for him. You love to see it. David Lorfano's going to be on the inside in the G Fuel 8, sitting 3rd. Patrick Mcquaid in the 77, non-playoff driver, but definitely has showed up the last 2 weeks on the outside in 4th. Luis Clark, when it's all said and done, looks like he's sitting 5th on the inside with David Hara in the 15, Jay Hetrick in the 25 sitting 7th, and T. Rodriguez in the 79 car sitting 8th. So all 3 drivers, 1 through 3, are playoff drivers. Then it goes Patrick Mcquaid, Luis Clark, who are not playoff drivers. So we got a couple of non-contenders sitting in the middle of the pack there. So if you're David and Hetrick, you're really looking to get around these guys, trying to fight for that third and fourth place as we get ready to go green here at the Kentucky Speedway. Jay Higgins with a huge jump out, followed by David Lurfano in that 8. Looks like he's going to secure the second place from the 00 of Mr. May. He's going to fall back to third place as these two cars right here, the 19 and the 8, with a huge jump from the pack. As you can see, third place car of May already a second and a half behind those guys. But as you see, what I see, Luis Clark starting from fifth all the way back up to third as he's on the bumper of the 19 car. Higgins, he's going to be looking for a pass on the inside as he's going to be chasing down the number 8 car of David Lurfano, our leader here at Kentucky Speedway. 13 laps to go. Let's see if we can keep it green, and let's see if Luis Clark can pit under caution and regain the lead less than a lap later. I'm going to start checking this guy's car after these races here. He's going to have to start doing some inspections. The guy's got a bottle of Nas on his car or something, as he just flew back up to third place as he finds himself in second place. Luis Clark on the inside of David Lurfano. This is a battle for the lead here as David is going to make it hard for him, running that outside line. Looks like he's going to secure that first place as we come around the back stretch here. 11 laps to go. And Luis Clark does secure the pass onto David Lurfano. So right now it'll be the race for second place. Be interesting to watch this group back here in the 4th, 5th, and 6th spot, as things might get a little bit dicey back here. Let's see if we get one more little caution. As you can see, yep, we called it as soon as we got to the camera angle. A little bit of pushing back and forth between the 15 of David Hara and the 25 car of Hetrick. Hetrick is our Cup standings leader at the moment, sitting at 7th, battling it out for the 6th place position. As you can see, the 59 car, Fred Houle, 2 laps down, leading those guys around, but that's the battle right there for 6th. Looks like David's going to back off a little bit and concede that position to the 25 of Hetrick, as he's going to be looking to push up here as we got 8 laps to go here at Kentucky Speedway, the second week of the All-American Racing League Championship, right here live on twitch.tv/FadedGG. It's been an honor sitting here with you guys for 100 laps. As you can see, Luis Clark at the top of your screen busting out a 1.2 lead over David Lurfano, followed by Jay Higgins, who's about 2 seconds behind that. As we get back up front here, you can see the gap here. This is the race for second, or lack thereof, as the 77 car tries to go on the inside to try to secure up that second place. That's David Mcquaid, a non-playoff contender here. So Jay Higgins really needs to hold on to that position, see if he can hold him off and get those third place points, as they will essentially go to nothing. 5 laps to go as we see our leader, Luis Clark, with a 2.2 lead. He's not looking back. David Lurfano sitting second. Patrick Mcquaid does secure that third place position from Jay Higgins in the 19. Jay Higgins sitting pretty comfortable in fourth place, though. There's about a 3-second gap between the fourth place car and the fifth place right now. As we start seeing some of these other guys like Hetrick and David still on the lead lap in seventh place, and so is Rodriguez in eighth. Fred Houle, Tyrone Yo, and Chad Snyder all 2 laps to 4 laps down, respectively. Hats off to them for finishing the race, though, to be honest with you guys. Sometimes the frustration builds up. You want to just take it to the pits and park it for the night. These guys said no way. They got their damage repaired, and they've been out on the track racing, grinding all night. So hats off to those guys. Three laps to go. Looks like it's going to be Luis Clark's race to lose. Hopefully there's no cautions. If it stays green, we're looking at Luis Clark, David Lurfano, and Patrick Mcquaid. However, the 19 of Jay Higgins might be making a run on Patrick Mcquaid here. And he's also pushing Patrick Mcquaid up to the 8 of David Lurfano. Let's see if Patrick Mcquaid, with coming up on 2 laps to go, can make a move for this second place, as he did finish second in last week's race. He's trying to encore here. David Lurfano on the outside. Looks like he is going to maybe lose that position to the 77. We've seen this all race. The outside line can hold it for about 2 or 3 turns, but it's just too much. As soon as you secure the inside line, as Patrick Mcquaid has, it's all she wrote. So he's going to take the second place position from David Lurfano, and it's going to be Jay Higgins still sitting in fourth. Let's see if he can get a race for third as we're coming up on 1 lap to go at Kentucky Speedway. We're going to stay on board with this race right here. We know Luis Clark, other than a big mistake, is going to take the checkered flag. So we're going to stay with this race for third between David Lurfano and Jay Higgins. 1 lap to go here. Let's see if that 19 can make that outside line work. As I just said, I don't know. Looks like he is going to secure the third place from David Lurfano as they're coming around to the checkered flag. It's going to be Luis Clark taking it 2 weeks in a row. Another dominant performance from start to finish for the guy across the pond. Congratulations to Luis Clark, and it looks like Patrick Mcquaid also doubling it up on his second place from last week. He's going to take second place, followed by the 19 car, as we saw, battling it out with the number 8 of David Lurfano, who's going to end up in fourth with Hetrick, David, and Rodriguez finishing 5th, 6th, and 7th, with, I believe, the rest of the cars finishing laps down. So good for them. Good, clean race. I think we had 2 cautions throughout 100 laps, so good for those guys. But tonight's all about this guy. 2 weeks in a row as he takes the checkered flag. We'll let him do his little burnout, his celebration. Congratulations to Luis Clark and Patrick Mcquaid. Hey, Luis. You got a copy, brother?
Yes, mate.
Hey, congratulations. Your second win in as many weeks. Another dominant performance. You're a road racer. What is it about these NASCAR Cup cars that make you so dominant and so fast on the track?
I really don't know. They just work well with me. Kentucky, I've given it a good couple of hours practice. I don't know, it's like with the cup cars just suit me. The tyres on the long run. It felt good. I was saving my tyres throughout the run. That first caution, I didn't really want that.
Yeah, fair enough. And that leads me to my next question. So we start doing our scheduled pit stops. And then we had the caution afterwards. And you actually gave up first place to go back into the pits under caution. Was that to just get 2 more tires or top off fuel? What was that about?
So the first green flag pit stop, we actually took saw ties. And then I saw when the second caution come out, David Lafano, he pitted, and I believe Patrick pitted. So I was like thinking, do I gamble taking the pit and try and work my way up there, because I didn't want them being on new tyres and me being a sitting duck. Okay, my tyres are like 4 laps old, but that still will make a difference in these cars. So I was like, we'll gamble it. We're not going for points. We'll gamble it for the win. And then luckily we got the inside, so I could get Patrick into turn 1, and Johnny May was on old tyres, so that didn't really matter. And then I had to find a way past the 8 into 3. Had to sort of barge my way in there to get past him, because in the draft these cars drive totally different.
Sure. Well, either way, congratulations. I'm getting reports that the voice chat is still a little bit quiet, so we still haven't figured that out, but I think it was a little bit better this week. I have you guys turned up a little bit in the Discord, so I'm not too sure what is the issue translating that onto to the stream. So, but I think they heard you. But we'll work on that a little bit. So this was your last race, right?
Before the Le Mans 24-hour, yeah. I've got the Le Mans 24-hour on the 12th of June, the Majors 24-hour Le Mans in a LMP2 car. So going to be heading out of the league for the next couple of weeks, concentrating on that, trying to get my Project Dynamic esports team, trying to get a win in the LMP2 class. And then hopefully we should be heading back over, maybe for Martinsville. If not, we'll definitely be there for Michigan. Maybe even Chicagoland.
All right, Luis. Hey, man, you get some rest. Good race tonight, and I look forward to talking to you sometime down the road. Congrats, man.
Good, man. Thank you.
Yep.
Have a good one.
Yep, see you. All right, let's bring Patrick Mcquaid in. Patrick, you got a copy?
Yes, sir.
So your second week in a row, same result as last week, second place. So that good run on there. There was a lot of battling up there for second, third, fourth. There was a lot of different cars up there in that second position. You're the guy at the end of the race to follow suit behind Louis. So how do you feel about taking second place? And how do you feel knowing that 2 weeks in a row, if it wasn't for the alien Luis Clark, you'd probably have back-to-back wins?
Yeah, that dude, he's lights out, man. I don't know what else to say about him. He's awesome. But no, second, like I said, my first 2 starts weren't the way I wanted them to go, but the past couple weeks, I'll take second. I'll take second any day of the week, especially to this guy. But,
Yeah, I hear that, man. Well, hey, Patrick, congratulations. You're going to be running next week, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, man. Congratulations on the P2. I'm sure we'll talk to you next week.
All right, thank you.
All right, see you. All right, the number 19 car. Hey, John Higgins, you got a copy?
I got a copy.
Hey, man, good race all night. You find yourself in third place. However, the first playoff contender to cross the finish line tonight, there was a lot of guys battling it out in that second, third, fourth, fifth place. But you're the guy to take home third. How does that feel to take home third and also be the guy going home with the most points tonight as far as the playoff contention goes?
Honestly, it feels pretty good. I started off the season, have only been able to run 3 races with these guys, and unfortunately, work kind of got in the way, so I haven't really ran many races until tonight. So being able to come home with a P3 finish, feels really, really good, and to be the first playoff guy in contention across the line, so I can get away from them 1,000 points.
Yeah,
Feels good as well.
that's got to be a win in itself. Now, I'm going to ask, I'm assuming Mark Martin was your guy, right?
Oh yeah. Mark Martin was definitely my guy growing up.
Yeah, that
Sure.
Valvoline livery looks really good. I kept calling it a throwback on stream because that's just who I just remember, when it came to Valvoline, it was Mark Martin. So I don't know who's running the Valvoline these days, but I called it a throwback livery because that's who comes to my mind when I see that. So Congratulations on P3. That should give you a little bit of push there as far as the points leader goes. So congratulations, and hopefully we bring you back here for interview next week as we enter week 3 of the championship. So thank you for your time, Mr. Higgins.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. Thank you for broadcasting for us. We appreciate it.
All right, John, appreciate it. We'll talk to you next week.
All right, have a good one. Thank you.
Yep, bye. Well, I was looking forward to talking with John, but I don't think, or Chad. Chad Snyder dipped out. So, you there, David?
Yeah, I'm here.
My wife in stream was telling me that the voice chat's still really quiet, but man, guys, I don't know what the problem is because, I stream other games too, and like I've made clips in the past, like just last week, and my buddy was in Discord, and on that clip that I posted to Twitter, he's loud and clear, so I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I think we'll research it and see if we can make the interviews a little better. I don't know if maybe there's some setting you need to change to allow the people in Discord to possibly stream a little better, but we'll work on it.
But like I said,
If you want to talk to him, that's great.
yeah, Johnny May, the 00 car. So you were involved in a single car accident. You kind of came up. I'm assuming tire wear bit you in the butt there a little bit because we had gone on a pretty long green flag stretch. So you got into the one car accident. I thought your race was over. Next thing I know, like you're all the way up into 3rd place, I believe, on that last caution. So I think you finished 8th place.
Yes.
Uh,
Me and Chad had a little tuffle there at the end, but I'm just glad to actually finish the race. My season has not been the greatest. I've had good speed all season, but I have not had the position at the end to actually show for it. So.
Well, you looked fast tonight. Again, like I said, when I saw you have that trouble, I said, man, tough break for him. But you battled through it all night. You stayed on the lead lap, I believe. You were even up to 3rd or 4th at one point of the race. So hats off to you and hats off to a lot of guys. I mean, there were some guys, that really could have called it quits, and they said, we're going to stay out there and we're going to turn some laps. So.
Yes, sir, but we'll just hope that next week actually goes better.
Yeah.
Brandon, that's the great thing about Johnny May. Johnny May is fast every single week.
Sure.
He makes it to the end. It's checkers or record. He makes it to the end. He wins again.
Well, and so this is. Yeah, this is your 2nd week. You're running an all-black livery. I was saying on stream, plenty of real estate for anybody out there to slap their name on there. But for right now, the gloss black with the 00 looks really good, and the car looks good on the track. And
For now.
yeah, well, we'll see what the future holds. You keep having some strong runs like this, and some eyes get on you, and we'll go from there.
Yes, sir.
All right, man. Good talking to you.
All right, buddy. I appreciate it.
Yep. See ya. All righty, ladies and gentlemen, this was week 2 of the All-American Racing League Championship here at Kentucky Speedway. Come back next week, Tuesday, 7 o'clock Central, as we enter week 3. Where are we going, David?
Let me find it for you real quick.
Are we going to Chicago?
Not quite yet. Hold on. I don't think so. Hold on. Hold on just a second. I'll get that for you.
Michigan, probably.
We are on our way to New Hampshire.
New Hampshire Speedway is going to be week 3 of the championship here. So tune in, again, 7 o'clock Central Time. We appreciate you tuning in tonight. I've been your broadcaster, Faded GG. This is All-American Racing League as we stream on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Thank you very much, everybody.